First and foremost, a big question. How many of you are really interested in AI? Anyone? Raise your hands. Anyone interested in AI? Ladies and gentlemen, today we will focus on few important things. First of all, strategy. You can't deliver AI without a good strategy. You cannot deliver AI if you're not morally and ethically thinking right. Hence the reason today, let's focus on how can we start AI in a strategic and in an ethical fashion. I'm Sherin, Mathew, CEO and founder of various entities that Lucy just mentioned. I wear many hats. I'm the CEO, founder, CTO, advisor, success manager, and I'm passionate about AI. And today, I want to start this journey by focusing on a very simple thing, and that is data. You cannot have AI without data. So all of us have data, but if data is piled up and is dirty, you cannot do anything with it. If data is under construction or under process or being used somewhere else, you cannot tap into that data. If your data is drying or not accessible, there's no point of having that data. So what we need is absolutely organized data set that you can straight away go and acquire and process that and get insights and intelligence from your data. Okay? So your data needs to look like this before you start your AI. Now, if you have data, that's great, but data is not everything. You also need other infrastructures. So you've got to think, how can you use high performance technology? You have to think how you're going to tap into the fast, high speed cloud technology, internet, and apply intelligence on top of your data and your infrastructure. Intelligence is the new fashion. Everything is trending, everything is smart, and I would say when you put all of this together, this results into something inevitable, which we all call artificial intelligence. Okay? Now, infrastructure and everything is out there. You just got to have a mindset to access this. And the most important ingredient to get started with AI is leadership. Curious, creative leadership. So I'm going to focus on that briefly. So, not a leadership session here, but it's important to ask key questions. How to create your AI business. How to apply AI in your business. How are you going to bring the right people, right technology, right investment? How are you going to change the culture? And how are you going to embed ethics as well? So leadership is the key ingredient of this AI technology. Okay? And the key questions to ask is how I'm going to empower my employees, how I'm going to engage with my audience, how I'm going to enhance my process, optimize my operations, and transform my systems. These are the questions as a leader you have to ask. And the next thing is, you also have to strategize. I'm not going to give a strategy lesson, but it's important to have a vision, a blueprint plan, work with the change, apply business structures where you can work with your existing infrastructure, existing team, existing skills, and capitalize on your investment and your people. So strategy basically is, in a simple way, solving a problem. And there's many ways to do this. First and foremost, you've got to ask why I'm doing this. Then you ask what I'm going to do. And then ultimately, how I'm going to do. And every leader will have their own journey. What's important is you are getting to a solution which is right for you. Okay? And while you're doing all of this, it's equally important to be ethical. What I say often is technology is the easy part, but the culture and ethics is the challenging aspect. If you're building AI without ethics, you're almost creating an AI animal. And this is not great, because at this point, there is no regulations in place. And when regulations will be in place, there's a full possibility the AI that you have built could be deemed as high risk and potentially be unfit to be used in a public environment. So you don't want to get into that stage. So it's really important you put ethics at the heart of your design thinking process. And to do that, we have a proprietary AI ethics framework called Public Intelligence. Public Intelligence is a researched framework where it brings the best of all the world and all the frameworks out there. It brings new unique concept called human right to intelligence. Human right to intelligence is protecting our human intelligence from intelligence system. How you're building AI and how you are displacing the human part of this intelligence with machines and how you manage that. If you're replacing this human part of intelligence with machines, what is the purpose of this innovation? So you have to find a positive, beneficial purpose. Are you here to augment or are you here to automate? These are the questions you've got to ask yourself during design thinking stage. The next thing is thinking about how you are going to manage the disruption. Disruption impacts in various ways. Speed at which it impacts, the scale at which it impacts, the society, the sentiments, everything that impacts, you have to factor, measure, and be accountable to these changes that you are forcing into the public and in the other sectors. The next thing to factor is how you are managing the risk. We often do risk evaluation for everything. For example, you sat here, you're running this event, you're driving your car, we have risk evaluated each and every product. Building a house, building a road, anything. We do risk evaluation for everything. Why don't we do risk evaluation when decisions are not made by humans? So it's important to have risk evaluation as a criteria in your design thinking process. Lastly, when you're designing, make sure you're accountable. And if you're not accountable, you have another iteration to redesign in an accountable fashion. By doing so, any innovations out there who have already created their AI application, they can redesign in a positive and an ethical fashion. So, moral of the story is, we need ethics management. Why ethics management? Because it saves a lot of time and money. It's seamlessly integrating to various ethics frameworks and regulations out there. It's making sure whatever you're building is sustainable, and it's helping people to be transparent and understand what your AI does. It's explainable, and you can reuse the recommended frameworks out there. So, moral of the story is, AI is not just a technology. It's just not coding. It's more than that. And to give you an idea, machine learning is probably 10% of the entire AI value chain. So what do we do when we know that it's just not data scientists, it's just not the Python code that I need to worry about? You have to think of AI as a cultural change. It's almost like an art. So what I say is, you need to bring leadership, you need to bring the right designers, architects, success managers, and also the developers, all of them working together to deliver this as a project. And then you can achieve success with your AI solution and design. But before we go, I just want to give you a few ideas around what not to do and what not to expect, and how do you manage AI expectation. So first and foremost, AI is narrow. It's doing small, simple things. It is not there to predict the future. It is reacting to the data. It's reacting to the experience and the training that you have provided previously. A good example is if driverless car has not seen a cow, it will hit the cow. If you're not trained driverless car to see a cat, cow, or anything, it really doesn't know what is about to see. So it really is reacting to the previous data. So this leads to the next point. It is not predicting, it is reacting. And it is not accurate. It is just predicting that I am 90% probably accurate, but there is still 1% chances of getting things wrong. There will be exceptions. Lastly, most important thing is the purpose. Whatever you build, it's got to have a purpose. It's got to solve a problem. If you're not solving a problem, there is no need for AI. And if there's a problem, there is a simple way to do AI as well. So this picture really sums up the current state of AI, right? We know what this is. This is the transport system made in 1885. And we know the potential of this, right? As you can see, there is no seat belt, no headlights, no safety, no speed limits, no regulations, nothing. But it's in our hands to create something powerful out of it. And on that note, all I will say is AI is powerful. AI is absolutely impressive technology. You just got to have the right purpose and the right leadership to implement this in a positive way. And that's it for me. Thank you very much. Our stand is in the corner, so if you have any questions, please do reach out to us. Thank you very much.